Yes, fellas, welcome to the Numbers Game preview for game week 24, I believe. We're just going to rattle through a few of these games, have a look at the underlying data for them, come up with a few picks that we think might happen. Please like, subscribe, do all that business. It makes a massive difference to us. Sam, welcome, mate.
Thank you. Great to be back.
And let's get stuck into it. So, the first thing that I wanted to speak to you about was this insane card. The Numbers Game AI making Brighton favourites against Nottingham Forest. It's extremely close, I should say, and it could probably change by tomorrow. But just looking at the website, this is pretty wild. Now, I have my own theory on why this is. First of all, what I wanted to ask you is, do you agree with this prediction, and how do you see this game going?
So Forest have obviously fallen off a little bit. Do I agree with it? No, but not because I think that Forest are amazing, more because I think Brighton are really inconsistent and I don't see them going away and like blowing away Forest.
It's an interesting one from my perspective because Brighton across the last 5 matches, their data is better in almost every single department.
Yeah,
Well,
look at the
literally every
XG
single
for and against
department.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Brighton have been seriously underperforming their expected numbers, and Forest have been seriously overperforming their expected numbers. Brighton's big problem has been breaking down a low block, which is obviously what Nottingham Forest are probably the best team in the league at doing. And Forest will need a result here really to prove that they're not in a blip, as it were.
I'd say to prove as well that this is a serious season because, yeah, we're past Christmas, but and they've had a great season kind of regardless of what happens. But what I would say is if the results started to go south now, it would kind of tarnish this season quite a lot. They need to show now that the Bournemouth game was a blip rather than that it's a change in their fortunes entirely and they've run out of steam or that they've taken the team as far as
And
they can.
I think that is it, that they ran out of steam a bit. Like they threw everything at the Liverpool game and played really well. Then when they played against Southampton 5 days later, Southampton got the first goal, which was lucky. But then Forest did not look like they were defending like the Forest that we've known this season. They looked leggy and not quite at it. And then in this Bournemouth game, I mean, don't know if you saw Clivert's first goal, but he ran from his own half without getting closed down, and then ended up on the edge of the D and banged it in the bottom corner, exactly the same as his goal against Newcastle the week before. I think a Forest team of a few weeks ago, when they were fit, when they were fully firing, he would have been closed down and they wouldn't have let him get that shot off. I just think they look leggy and a bit like they were coming up against a Bournemouth side who were the most fit and firing team in the whole league.
This is really hyperbolic, but it almost seems like a season-defining game for both of the teams because Brighton have been inconsistent. But if they got a result now, you'd say, okay, they can have a decent season. Forest have obviously had an amazing season, but if they get beat, you probably go, okay, right, that's the end of this run that they've been on.
It shows how one game can change the whole narrative. This is a pivotal moment for them. I think this is a game that they'll want to take momentum into those tougher fixtures. Given all that, how do you think the game's going to go?
I think, like you say, Forest will keep it really tight, and Brighton have struggled against those sort of sides. So it wouldn't surprise me if, because of those tired, leggy players, Brighton end up getting a goal, but Forest will get one as well, being at home. So maybe a 1-1, something like that.
Yeah, I think it would be a score draw, but I wouldn't back a draw, I don't think. I would just back more than one goal or both teams to score probably. Next game, Bournemouth against Liverpool. I think that this is the pick of the bunch. I can't believe it's a 3 o'clock kickoff because this could be an absolute banger of a game.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree, mate.
Bournemouth, mate, at home, they've kept. I'm not including the FA Cup in here, by the way, because they played West Brom and they won 5-1. 4 of the last 5 games at home, they've kept clean sheets in. And in that time, games are averaging 3.5 goals per game. So 4 out of 5 clean sheets in the last 5 Premier League games. And 3.4 goals average for crazy, crazy number.
And stylistically, I know you think it's going to be a banger because stylistically it's a good matchup. But who do you think comes out on top?
I honestly think Bournemouth will get a draw here. I do. I think the thing about Bournemouth is they play so well against the top teams. I'm sure they beat United this season, who probably not a top team, I know, but they beat City, they beat Arsenal at home, both teams at home. They've beaten Chelsea at home. They've basically beaten all the top teams at home, right? They spanked Newcastle recently, spanked Forest. When they play against good sides, they really turn up. They should have beaten Chelsea away. this time. They obviously conceded that last minute Reece James free kick, but they should have been out of sight in that one. They just their style of play suits playing top teams so perfectly, and Liverpool are not immune to that. I don't think this Liverpool team aren't that City team, aren't one of those City teams, in my opinion, that will gets up to 100 points. I don't think. I think they're a bit fragile at the back. I think Van Dijk's their only actual good defender. Robertson's well past it. Konate is playing with an injury. If he's fully fit, he's good, but he's not at the moment. And we know what Trent is. He's not a good defender, but he's brilliant attacker.
But what I would say is they're comfortable on the ball, all of that back four, and that's what kind of this Bournemouth side prey on. That's why they do so well against a team like United, because there's so many players that aren't comfortable in possession.
Yeah, but you would say, wouldn't you, that City players are comfortable on the ball, Arsenal players are comfortable on the ball, but it didn't help them when they went to the Vitality. And I think
what a sentence that is, by the way, out of context.
I know. It shows you how good of a manager Iraola is. Now, this is a separate conversation for another day, right? But whether he would do it at a big club is a whole different question for me. But it's not to take anything away from them, because in possession, they play unbelievably good football, Bournemouth. They really do. And I do actually think that there's a gap opening up for a top team to play more direct football now. I genuinely do. I think the era of having to have 60% of possession to win games is coming to an end, because I genuinely think now that teams like Bournemouth have worked out how to punish teams who do that, not to the absolute 100% standard every week.
All right, so here's a question for you then. You're a fan of a big side. Are you not happy for the other team to have the ball if you win in the game and playing exciting football anyway, even if it's only for 40% of the game instead of the majority of possession?
You are, yeah, definitely. But I think the problem is you're only happy while you're winning games. Once the form starts to turn, once you have a bit of a blip, people are very quickly on your back, because you look like you're getting played off the park by, Brighton. Not even Brighton, because they're considered a top team now. But someone like Southampton can come to Old Trafford and have 60% of the ball. I don't know. I'm not saying that Iraola couldn't do it at a top club, but it'd be interesting to see. I think, like I said, I could see this being like 2-2 or 2-1. And if it was 2-1 to Bournemouth, I wouldn't be that surprised. But obviously, if it was 2-1 to Liverpool, that's kind of what the AI is going with here. In fact, the AI is predicting 2-1 to Liverpool. So
this one could definitely be a draw. I think both sides would take a draw as well.
Ipswich versus Southampton.
Really?
Proper.
If I saw this on TV, I'd go and watch some paint dry instead.
You're a top six goon, that's why. You literally are just top six goon. You've been programmed by Sky to believe that it's the top six is football. The Premier League ends after. Well, actually, United are like 15th now, so the big six, I'll call them, not the top six. You could easily see this being the playoff final in the Championship next year, couldn't you?
And that suddenly makes it a really exciting game. But no, the Southampton are shit. Ipswich are quite boring, so I'm not interested in. It's nothing to do with the top six. Because I would happily watch Spurs against United.
I was going to say, can't think of a club outside the big six, can you?
What's that one that begins with W?
Yeah. Let's go back onto Newcastle versus Fulham. Fulham have won one of the last 10 games against Newcastle, and that goes all the way back to when both these teams were playing in the EFL in 2017. I think that, like you say, Fulham, they've got nothing going forward at the moment. They looked so bad against Man United. That was one of the worst games of football you'd ever see. This is a Newcastle side who, when they're well rested and they've had a bit of a break, which they will have done on this occasion, are a seriously top club. So I think Newcastle win this one quite comfortably.
I'd put 5 ton on Newcastle for this game. I'm pretty confident in this one.
Would you?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. Otherwise I would.